Hi everyone, it's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video, and I get to sit down with the man himself, Thomas Napper. Now, if you don't know who he is, he directed episodes 3 and 4. Yes, Road to the Spear was one of the episodes he directed for the third season of The Wheel of Time. So if you love The Wheel of Time as much as I do, if you're as excited about the third season as I am, or if you just want to keep up with all the Wheel of Time news, and trust me folks, like I've been saying, there's going to be a lot in the coming months, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course tell all your friends. Now, I had the opportunity to sit down with Thomas Napper and talk a bit about The Wheel of Time, a bit about the directorial process he did. And I'm not going to lie, just like every other one of my interviews, I gushed just a little bit because these folks are amazing and they're giving us something absolutely wild, something that we never thought we would get. In my heart of hearts, I never thought we'd get a Wheel of Time movie or show ever. And now that we're getting it, this season especially, I am just over the moon. And you can tell that these folks really put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. And it's just a whole lot of fun sitting down with them. So let's get into that conversation I had with Thomas now. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. It's probably a long day for you. A lot of interviews, I assume.
Do you know what? I really am enjoying talking about this episode. It's kind of nice.
It is. I assume we're talking about Road to the Spear. It is probably for me. When I rated it on my channel, I rated it 10 plus plus plus. Like I couldn't give it higher than a 10. It was the best episode of fantasy TV I've ever seen. Just so you know, huge fan. Excellent
That's
job.
yeah. You guys got to stop doing this. I don't know what to do with all this. It's Listen, I think it's a love letter to Wheel of Time. I think Rafe, is such a true believer in the books, and I know he gets a lot of flack for things being different or somehow not meeting people's expectation, but this is a real love letter to Robert Jordan and to these beloved chapters. I I you know it's so close to what's in the book, but it's also got this extra emotional thing within it, and the fact that it's Yosha.
Well, he did so
um
well. He did so well this episode.
yeah, I think he should be very proud of what he's done here, and I think it was quite daunting at the beginning when it was on the page, and I know Rafe was laughing in an interview about kind of everyone going what, because it was asking a lot of people in every department. It wasn't just
Mhm.
Yosha or myself; it was every department had to kind of heave this episode up because it's all new stuff. It's all new worlds. Ruidian didn't exist. The Aiel hadn't been established, which I loved working on that, by the way. I loved casting that with Rafe. That's one of my biggest pleasures on the show is the casting process. I've loved working on at the beginning of season 2, bringing in a lot of new cast and then doing that again here. It's definitely my favorite part of the process. Um, and then that's not even talking about the 6 characters and probably about 8 others secretly stuffed away in the visions. There's a world out there. So that's a lot of work for Sharon Gillam. That's a lot of work for Davina Lamont. Um, you know, Andre Nekfazil had to keep pulling these locations out of nowhere, and we had to work out where we could dig holes in the set because the rollover rig needs to go below the ground, both sides. So we had to kind of destroy a lot of sets. And so putting it anywhere meant masses of work for lots of people.
So I
Um,
have a question about that actually. The rollover camera, like you said, like the ring camera, where it showcased
yes.
like the rolling of the wheel as she went through all of her different visions and whatnot. How did that come about? Like who thought that up? How was that brought
It's
into
my
existence?
fault. It's my fault. When I read the script initially, I was trying to think of a way to make Moraine feel powerless. And what I wanted to achieve was a kind of out of body experience where you can see something happening, but you can't do anything about it. Kind of like in a dream, I guess, but also, but it being able to circumnavigate something, so you see everything. You see that there's no trick. So the camera kind of, it's like this beautiful trick where where you've been, you could then go back and you see it, and there's nothing there. So it's like it's like a magician showing you that there's no camera, right?
Yeah.
I saw this film it was made in the late 70s or the early 80s, where a guy had built a rig that did this. This guy called Tony Hill, and I have always wanted to make a rig that was like this rig, because I find the beauty of it is just undeniable. It has such a kind of beautiful feel, and it's so unusual. And so I said that I wanted to do this. People kind of were a bit hummy-harry, like, not sure what that is. But we met an engineer, and we started to build the rig. And we met a brilliant engineer called Thomas, who's a Czech rigger. Like, he builds rigs out of metal, and he went about building it for the first time, not really having any prototype or anything to use. So we kind of engineered it ourselves. So all the time we were kind of doing tests on columns and smoke, and building characters with Yosha, and talking about casting. All the processes were going. We were also building that rig and testing it, and it kept not working. So I was like, oh damn. I was like, oh no, this isn't going to work. And then it just started to work after a couple of tweaks. Like the engineers kind of tweaked something, and then it started to be smooth. And so we took it everywhere. We took it everywhere with us. It was a giant bit of rigging, and yeah, I think it makes you feel like you're able to see something, but you can't be part of it. That was the feeling I wanted from Moraine. This powerful woman unable to change destiny was my kind of idea.
It worked out perfectly. Like it was I think probably my favorite part of the entire episode, or at least it tied for a bunch of like the whole episode was great, but seeing that and not expecting it when I seen it in the screeners for the first time just blew me away. Like um, it reminded me a lot of I'm a big fan of old horror B movies. So Sam Raimi, when he first started out, the way he
Right,
kind of
right.
invented different camera rigs and invented things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
saw that. That's the first thing I thought of was that, and I was like, that's wild that on such a big budget production you want to take such risks because it would have been something that hadn't been done before, and I thought it was really neat. It was cool hearing how you guys came about making that. So I do have a question about other challenges in this episode. So you mentioned that it was a love letter to the Wheel of Time, and it really was. It embodied so many perfect aspects of the Shadow Rising, little bits of the Fires of Heaven, the column story, like everything was amazing. What were some of the other biggest challenges other than the ring camera work for Maureen's uh, visions that you encountered when directing this episode? And were you thinking about how the fans would perceive it afterwards?
Um, I mean, first and foremost, I had to kind of get to grips with the material, because
Mhm.
it's quite hard to swallow some of the ideas. I know that that's how the Wheel of Time works, because I've read enough of the material. But I think it's it's like a beautiful opportunity to kind of see the substructure of the show, which separates it from other things. You know, it's kind of the uniqueness of the show. I wanted to get my hands on the Age of Legends since I saw the first series. I was like, I want to go there. I want to go to there. Um, so that was a real delight for me. I felt Rafe's Rafe's favorite thing is the IO already. You know, he's really into that part of the lore. So that was definitely a part of the challenge, but also it just felt like kind of an honor to do this part of the show somehow. And you know, it's I love history as well, so it's kind of I love get the details of like why, for example, the Aiel culture, how the faith changes through the journey. And I sat with Ray for hours, just kind of picking into it and kind of trying to understand the difference between this schism and that schism, and then what happens beyond that, and then how it all comes back together or doesn't, and how fundamentally the idea of a peaceful set of people who would never hurt or anyone become the most frightening warriors in the culture. So I loved that side of it truly, and the reverse of it is wonderful to kind of handle and to work with, because it's really satisfying somehow to see the faith change through 3,000 years.
100%, yes.
And Joshua and I talked a lot about that. With different characters, they have either a kind of driving faith at the beginning, like they've taken the oath with the Aes Sedai, and that faith drives them, forward 3,000 years. If you follow the tree, right, the tree is the kind of thing that changes and grows all the way through the story. But you're really following a faith. It's following different versions of his ancestors' faith through the story, and yeah, I mean, I think Joshua really just got so immersed in it. He became really immersed in those characters, and found the emotional truth in those scenes. You're with those characters for a very short period
Well,
of time
the
sometimes.
range was
Yeah.
amazing. It really was. But I think it looks like we're out of time here. So before I go, I just wanted to say thank you again for what you've done and giving us, and quite honestly, every Wheel of Time fan I've ever talked to, probably the best episode we'll ever see of the Wheel of Time on screen. You
Oh
really brought that
gosh,
to
I
life
hope
for
there's
us.
so many more. I hope there's so many more
I
to
do too. I
come.
really do. But so far, best episode so far. And I want to thank you for that on behalf of the fandom. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love watching your show as well. Thank you for what you do,
Oh,
and yeah, good luck with it. Thank
oh,
you.
thanks so much. I appreciate it. There you have it, folks. Hope for more seasons. That's what we have right now. Not just among the fandom, but among the directors, the casting department, the production team, the crew, the actors and actresses, the 2,200 people plus that are helping make this show a reality. And I truly hope we get seasons 4 through 8 like they originally intended, because season 3 has been such a huge pivotal moment in the Wheel of Time world as far as I'm concerned. Like night and day the last couple seasons. This season has been just absolutely wild. So I hope they continue on with that vein of creativity and bringing this vision to life. So there's that. Anyway, so yeah, tomorrow expect an Easter egg video on episode 6. I've dived through the episode. There's a ton of stuff in there, folks. It's going to be a long one, probably upwards of an hour or so, like my other Easter egg videos. So be watch out for that. Day after that, Monday, we're probably going to do the breakdown video talking about differences between books and show. So if you want to know the differences between the books and the show for episode 6, some things that are stayed the same, where certain things get their inspiration from, and if you have questions about certain things like Rand and Egwene's relationship and just how easy it was just to go poof, that's the show for you. Again, full book spoilers all the way through the entire series, but if you don't mind spoilers, it does clear a lot of things up if you haven't read the books or if you've read them a long time ago. All right, so if you have any questions that you'd like me to ask the next few people I'm interviewing, or if you have any other videos that you folks would like me to make, again, I'm going to be pretty busy till after JordanCon, but there are a ton of lore videos out there that I need to do. If you have any ideas for that stuff, let me know in the comments down below. That'll come probably after JordanCon in your 1 to 2 Wheel Time videos a week that I'm going to be doing. So thank you so much for sticking with us here to the very end, folks. Here's to many more.